Oh, g'day. It's Mel and back with another episode of the Fearless Singer podcast. We've been on a little bit of a break. When I say we, I mean me and myself. Been on a bit of a break for the last couple of months. And because I've been, building things and doing other things, I've still had a presence. I didn't just kind of drop off the face of the earth, did way more gigs. And now I'm back because this podcast is really special to me. I forgot how much I missed it. And interesting enough, this week has been a funny one of messages from the universe to like get your bum into gear and do a bloody podcast episode. I'm trying something different, a little bit of a different background because I love my piano. Sorry, excuse me, I'm a little bit viral, not in the internet sense, but in the got a little bit of a head cold. And I'm using my mini microphone that I bought off an Instagram ad, not my $1,000 Shure microphone, because I'm just trying new things. Because that's what it's all about, is trying new things, and things don't have to be perfect to be good. Just putting that one out there. That's one to write down in the diary. Let's start, shall we? I'm going to do a podcast episode of the magic art of turning effing 40. Okay, if you're watching this, you will see that I've now moved away from the piano. Those $30 microphones don't work. So always good to invest in something a little bit of substance. However, before I absolutely throw them out of the window, I'll just check that I don't have to charge them. But it just kept switching on and off. Hence why it's good to experiment and not get too... Don't read into it. It's just technology. And I say that only because in the past that would be enough for me to throw a massive fit. Anything technology related. However, I've done a bit of healing around that. But back to the episode. The magic art of turning 40. It is magic, and it's a massive privilege to turn 40. I have to say, it's one of those things, we fear this growing old business. Well, when I say we, maybe before 40, you start to think, oh, getting close to death. But then when you reach a certain age, you begin to reflect and think, well, what's the alternative? And I've been very privileged to know a lot of phenomenal human beings over my lifetime who I went to school with, who I went to uni with, who I knew in the music scene here in Brisbane, who didn't make it to 40 and were absolutely exceptional human beings. And I have to say, well, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to get to this age. That was a massive realization. That was huge. When you start to be grateful for life itself and all the things that we get to do here, despite what is happening in the world, the fact that we actually have the opportunity to do something about it is a phenomenal realization. And that in itself felt quite magic, turning 40. Now, I turned 40 last July, and I have mentioned it a lot in social media posts, and I think I may have even mentioned it in previous podcast episodes as well. But something changed. Something changed in my personality, my way of doing things. It's interesting that I've had this Fearless Singer brand. However, I felt like I've become way more fearless. I love that there is a fly circling my head. I feel like flies are always a sign of abundance, and they're a sign of yes, you're on the right track. So if you're in rural Victoria right now and you're being swarmed by flies, remember that. And yeah, I feel like a renewed sense of fearlessness. That's all I can say. It's like a deeper level of knowing, a deeper level of, the fact that life is actually really short, because it felt like only literally a blink ago that I was 6 years old. Honestly, it's gone very quick. And that there's a lot to do. as a singer, as a creative, as a musician, as a human being with a gift inside of us, because I believe we're all born with a gift and a message. And part of our experience here is, yes, to experience the 3D reality in these incredible bodies. By the way, I'm going to stop referring to this as the meat sack. We're all spirits having this experience in the meat sack, because it kind of puts down something that is quite remarkable, is our bodies. That's the other thing too of turning 40. You're going, whoa, you are awesome. And yes, I'm talking from an able body perspective. And I've mentioned this before as well, but, I know we all live in different bodies and we have different experiences, but I speak to a lot of people and I work with a lot of people with disability who are still just love this suit that we have, that we get to be in, despite whatever it is that they go through on a daily basis. And just overall, a renewed appreciation of life, I think, when you turn 40. But let's break it down into tangible bullet point. This is what happened to me. And I want to put it out there to you too. Did you, other 40 plus humans, did you also have this experience? I want to hear from you. Please comment, DM, let me know. What has it been like for you? Did you have this also, a renewed understanding of life and a renewed appreciation of this life? Let me know. I took notes that I'm going to refer to, because this is something that I could literally just keep rambling on and on and on about and be like, and this and that and this. But I have to say, there is a massive paradigm shift. It's like you're almost entering a new world when you turn 40. That's what I've experienced anyway. But I've broken it down into 5 dot points, but I feel like there should be more, but I also don't want to overburden you too much. Maybe this is going to be a part 1 podcast, part 2, and we have a Turning 40 series. And by the way, I'm open to the possibility that maybe even 40 is good, maybe 50 is even better. And if you are in your 50s, I really want to hear from you. How are things different? If you're in your 60s, 70s, it's exciting. It does almost feel like new levels in a video game. Anyway, I digress. Let's go back. I'm referring to my notes, hence why my eyes are going this way. So number 1, I want to go back to this renewed fearlessness. I actually believe now I'm 100% practicing what I preach. I'm saying exactly what I mean. I'm asking for what I want. I ask for opportunities, and I don't take it personally if anyone says no. And I am not too cowardly to say, why not? And let's have a conversation about it. Let's talk it out. When people say weird things, as well, that sit funny and you go, ooh, that felt a bit targeted. I'm actually now saying, hey, what do you mean by that? I'm putting into place all the things that we learn, to do seems to be happening way more naturally now because of this renewed confidence of not really. It's not that you don't care. I definitely care about everybody. I care what people think. I care, and let's talk about it and let's have a conversation about it. And if that person goes, I don't want to talk to you about it, then you take no for an answer. It's just this kind of renewed level of awareness of no one really owes you anything. And anyway, as long as you're doing the best to be the best human that you possibly can, and you're working through your things, and you're of service and you're of integrity, then it's like, okay, well, that's how you feel and that's okay. So a renewed level of fearlessness, asking for what I want. There's been so many opportunities that I saw could have passed me by, but I was like, nope, I'm going to go for that. I don't care that I'm sitting around a room full of very impressive, pensive looking people right now. I'm going to say, hey, have you thought about doing this? Because this would be a great opportunity. And guess what? Turns out I was lucky, and that's exactly what happened. I can't talk specifics, but it's a massive opportunity that I get to experience, as well as a colleague of mine. So it's, really just going for things and being okay if they went, nah, no, we're not doing that. And just being like, all right, I tried. I gave it a go. There's no harm in asking for what you want, and there's no harm in really pitching an idea that you believe to be good, even if you perceive others to not like that idea. Just forget about it. Just cut off to that and then just go for it. The second thing is I am being way more myself. I'm saying exactly what I think on social media. It's one of those things that I've held back on for many years. I grew up believing that you don't talk politics or religion at the dinner table, and I do appreciate people that believe that. But I think when the world gets super crunchy, as it is now, it is important to have something to say about it, and to be part of that conversation and be talking from the perspective of wanting the peace, wanting the change. I'm being way more myself. I'm being very political, some to a point where I've actually lost friends on social media that and who have just completely gone, no, you're rubbish, F off. And I'm like, okay, all right, because I'm not going to change what I believe to be true because it's going to upset somebody. I'm going to be aligned with what I believe to be true. And I'm going to respect other people as well for their own opinions and beliefs, providing that they can, they can express that in a intelligent and in a non-violent way. I'm open to all of that. So being way more myself, I never thought that could happen. I've created a brand on being bloody quirky, but I guess I'm showing the various sides of my personality. Yes, I'm quirky, but there is a lot of justice, a real sense of justice in me, that it's really important that gets expressed. And again, I'm not fearing the consequences. If that means that I'm going to lose business, well, to be honest, I don't particularly want to be catering for people that don't align with my political and social values. If you are white and not actively working on the racism that we intrinsically have inside of us, all of us, and I know this is going to be controversial, but if you're not actively doing this work, well, then I'm sorry, I don't particularly want you to be in my sphere. And if you happen to stumble across my work and you hear my message and it starts to, you go, oh, actually, I hear that side of the argument now, and you understand that we're all collectively here to make a better world for each and every one of us. That includes every race, every skin color, every religion. If you're not about that, then I'm sorry. I'm not interested in serving you. I'm not interested in also trying to bring you over to the other side. If you want to believe that, you can stay over there. And I know that really comes into that idea of separation, which I get that. Like as a spiritual teacher, I'm all about inclusivity and we're one. But also, I really don't want to have to change my ideas and values because it's going to hurt someone's white fragility. So anyway, that's where I'm at. I'm being more myself, and that means being political and actually saying what I mean and what I think, and doing that on stage. Also, as a performer, as much as I sometimes muddle up the words, I'm going to do the acknowledgement of country because I believe that we are operating on stolen land. So I'm going to be talking about that and be doing the work actively to learn more about Indigenous culture, and also to be doing the work in anti-colonization, like doing the work actively, because it's all in us. It's ingrained in us. Colonization and capitalism is something that's inside of us, and we need to undo that if we want to survive as a species. So 2, being more myself, and that means showing the sides that may not be likable to a lot of people, and that's okay for me. I'm totally okay. And I know that I have family members that fear, for safety, particularly as a woman. I'm not scared anymore. So that's where I'm at. You turn 40, you're like, I really care too much about future female identifying non-binary folk to worry about my own safety right now. I'm going to do what I can, my bit, to make a better world. And the same goes for people of colour. I'm going to be the best ally that I can be, and be okay with making mistakes, because that's bound to happen because of this is new territory work, and we're all just doing our best. So 2, being more myself. I know I've repeated that several times. And making jokes and being crass, because that's 100% me as well. And I think it's important that we share that side of our personality. I've played the good girl for way too long in my life. It's like I'm cheeky as... There you go, just swore. My mum's not going to be happy with that. But I still also, like I said, worry about what my mum thinks. 3 is knowing that it's all going to work out. Everything works out. Like, we get these challenges that come up, or these heavy feelings. We have challenges with the people that we work with. We have challenges in life in general. We have health challenges. We have money challenges. Things come up, but I have this underlying feeling and knowing that it's all going to work itself out. And if not what I want, something better. If it's a no now, it's a yes to something way better that is more suited for me. And that's why also too, it used to absolutely kill me not to include certain dear friends in projects of mine. And, I've struggled so much with that and gone, they're probably not the best fit for this particular project, but I'm going to book them anyway because I love them and they're so talented, and they are. Everyone I work with are phenomenal. But going, actually, give them an opportunity to say no, because they might be actually just saying that they want to do this because they don't want to hurt your feelings. And so I'm having those honest conversations now, because I know that if they're doing something that they don't particularly want to do with me, it's stopping them from doing the things that the universe has in store for them. Because I actually believe, whatever your understanding of that spiritual force around us, whether it's God, whether it's the universe source, whether it is, Buddha, Allah, whatever your understanding is that we are all here for greatness, all of us. It is in us. We have incredible, whatever that we dream of is already happening in a different time parallel universe. It's already there. It's already happened. It is happening. And it's important for us to know that. So if you're not quite sure whether this person is the right fit for your project, you're probably stopping them from doing what is the right fit that they're actually going to love. You might be stopping them from going on to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or whatever it is. So yeah, I just don't have that feeling, that real sort of tearing up your gut kind of feeling anymore. It's like, well, let's just be honest, or let's have an open conversation about this now. And no one owes you anything either. Like, it's, we don't owe each other anything. We are operating, from source. Source gives us what we want and what we need, and will lead us to where we need to be. So yeah, coming back to that understanding has been so powerful, that this is a big enough stage for all of us. We can all rise, we can all succeed. So number 4 is also just taking more risks. And I think this kind of lends itself to the number 1, the renewed fearlessness, is going, yeah, I'm going to jump now. I'm going to do that. That would feel very, very, very scary normally, but I can see that if I don't do this, the alternative is going to be worse. And I'm going to take you back to a story when I think I must have been, 12? And back in the 90s, we went to the most cooked campsites. We paid, our schools paid lots of money for us to go to, and a lot of the, like the courses, through the bushland were so dangerous. Even back then, I'd be like, I don't know if that's 100% safe. Why are you making us do that? And I remember being 12, and we had to climb up this, and it looked like, and it felt like a cliff face. It wasn't quite abseiling, or mountain climbing, but it was like that close to. And I wasn't a particularly fit child either. I was the same size as I am now as a 12-year-old. So, for a little tiny, I was a big kid. And I had to walk up this really steep cliffside. That's what I'm going to call it. I'm sure there's a more specific name for it. To get to the top. And I couldn't believe that I even got to the top, that I didn't even turn back. But I obviously thought, okay, I can do this. And then got to the top and didn't realize that then I'd have to walk a bloody plank across to this other, whatever it was. It was like a flying fox, by the way. So this other little plank platform thing, I had to cross the plank without a friggin' harness on. And I was like, oh, like that is scary. Okay, sure, there is an adult there who is missing an ear, who I've had some weird spidey senses around. There were a lot of them back in the 90s. They're still around, but they were super unchecked back then. Pretty sure he was an ex-felon. I had to trust this guy to grab me and put me on a harness. But the alternative was way more scary, and that was going back down this freaking huge, steep bloody hill, cliff, whatever the fuck it was. Oh, Mum, please don't be mad at me. And I watched my maths teacher. I was like, she is one brave bitch going down that. Like that is way scarier than having to do this plank. So I did. I crossed the plank. This guy grabbed me, put me on the harness, literally did this, and away I went, and I survived to tell the story. Sometimes not doing that thing that is really scary can mean something way scarier. And it's really about kind of going, okay, what is more scary than getting on this stage now and sharing what I love to do, which is to sing and to tell my story? What is scary than that? For me, the scariest thing would be to be on my deathbed and thinking, oh, what a shit show. I didn't do anything that I wanted to do. I didn't do anything. I worked too hard. All I did was just worked and drank. Sorry, that's not a dig at anyone who drinks, by the way. But, it's one of those things that we fall in the trap of, the 9 to 5, and then we, and there's nothing wrong with going out and drinking with your mates, by the way. There's nothing wrong with it. But then when you start to realize, oh my God, this is a cycle. This is like Groundhog's Day. This is what I work to look forward to. And I don't do those things that I say that I want to do, which is the overseas travel or the, having a little investment property, or actually, why am I saying those things? Maybe because that's what I want to do more, is that, not that I don't want to do it more, sorry, is that I want to do more traveling. But yeah, the scary alternative is saying I didn't get to do the things that I wanted to do. For me, anyway. And we're all different. So I'm taking way more risks. And for me, for a lot of people, this doesn't seem like a risk. But for me, the risk of buying my first property so that, I have somewhere that's fairly stable to live in. I know that nothing is secure, but way more secure than being in a rental and having someone else's life, impact on your life. So if they want to sell the property, you're out, kind of thing. That is the thought of being in a situation where I'm dependent on somebody else is way more scary, even though effectively you're dependent on whether you can pay your mortgage. But I feel like I have way more control over that than someone saying tomorrow, oh, your lease is cancelled, you've got to find a new accommodation. So yeah, taking way more risks. And the last one is not taking anything too personally. And for me, I've done a lot of work on because, oh my God, it's so seductive, is to play the victim. But I work hard and I do this and being the victim. It's like, oh, it's not a good return of investment. That's what I realized. It's like, is this, and it's my favorite thing to ask myself now, is this a good ROI? Is this helpful towards your personal goals and dreams? Is to fixate on this. Could you have an honest conversation about this with that particular person? Or clear things up, or, again, just for me, that playing the victim, oh, it feels so good. You get such a dope hit from it, and that's the other thing too from turning 40 is just realizing that we're just a culmination of chemicals and experiences, and we can actually change the chemicals that we shoot off into our body, and we can also, over time, with repetition of affirmations, we can actually change the neural pathways. It's called LPD. So it's when the two synapses talk to each other and strengthen, and then you've just got a completely new life. I'm going to have to quickly, while I have the computer, is it LPT? LPT or LPD? No, it's LPT. No, it is LTP. Got the acronym completely wrong. It's LTP, long-term potentiation. It's a complex process of leading to persistent and strengthening of synapses that enables a long-lasting increase in the synaptic transmission in a neuronal network. So the more that we do that repeated, the non-victim, playing the non-victim, so whatever that means, remembering we're affirming. So I'm strong, I'm a good communicator, everything works out for me. It all works out in the end. Oh, everything gets cleared up in the end. Oh, you're so good at talking to other people and coming to a good compromise. Whatever it is, the more you keep repeating that and believing it in your system, you've got these two synapses that strengthen to create this new ultra, I'm probably not speaking the correct language, this ultra neural pathway that now says, yeah, that's what you are. You're a badass bitch. You can do anything. You can be anything. Like the idea of, at the moment, there is a very, very, very strong real chance that I might no longer be able to live here where I love. And because I've done enough of this work of knowing that everything works out, I'm like, oh, that doesn't bother me. Find somewhere else. It's okay. It'll all work itself out. It's not that I also rest on my laurels. I go, it's going to work out because I'm going to make it work out, and I take the necessary action. I write the emails. I make the phone calls. I ask for the help. I ask for the opportunities. And that's become a new way of being. And yeah, and my mum always has said it, you always land on your feet. And I've been doing it unconsciously for many years, but now finally I'm way more conscious of that it's a formula. It's not something that just happens by chance. It is a way of being that you practice. So using that is this currently, or this situation, or this challenge, or this challenging person, or this terrible thing that happened to me, because let's be honest, we've all had our own experience of trauma and had our own, stories that have happened to us. It's now time to go, do I want this to be taking up prime real estate in my consciousness? Is this helpful? Is this moving the needle forward? Is this bringing me to a better life? That's really helped me. And to the point now I can 100% empathize with other people's pain, like I absolutely do. But because I've dealt with my own and I've made the conscious decision that it's like either I stay in pain, which is past, or it's a choice, and mate, it feels bloody good. You get so that dopamine hit you get from the cortisol, it feels good to dwell. It really does. And by the way, please don't think I'm talking about trauma in a flippant way, because that's something that we do have to seek help for and get professionals to help us through that process. So I'm not in no ways being flippant about it. It's a real thing. But we do get off on it. There is scientific data that suggests that that's what happens. And then the cortisol in our body then will start to bring our immune system down. It also goes on to create disease. And that's not to scare anyone. It's like, well, it's a choice. It's like the same thing of like drinking loads of alcohol, knowing that, that fourth or fifth, that, I don't know, that's it's knowing what your limits are. It's like going, because obviously stress is helpful in certain situations. We need it from time to time. But it's like, okay, just being aware of, is this the appropriate time to use a bit of inject of cortisol right now, or can I calm my nervous system in this situation? And finding those nervous system regulation skills and strategies has absolutely friggin' changed my life. And you know what? They don't even have to be complex. It literally can look like breathing in for 5, holding for 5, releasing for 5, and putting a nice little sigh on it. It can be just cutting yourself off from the thought, bringing awareness to your little toes, bringing awareness to your fingers, feeling a softness through the face, whatever those strategies are. I like to talk to the angels. I like to talk to spirit guides. I am a Reiki master, so I do Reiki on myself to help calm my nervous system. And there's so many things you can do. And actually, one of the biggest things we can do is we can bloody sing. We can it doesn't matter how rubbish you think you are, it's so irrelevant. It is going to absolutely put your nervous system in a calm state. So put on your favorite track, start singing, or even just making up funny little melodies on the spot. One of my favorite things to sing comes from Alison Davies, who is this incredible music therapist from Tasmania. She used to live in Brisbane. And that's, every little cell in my body is healthy. Every little cell in my body is well. So I sing that if I'm feeling a bit out of sorts. Or I sing, every little cell in my body is sexy, because it is. So yeah. That's what I've learned from being 40. There's a big list there. There's a lot to say there, I should say. It wasn't a big list. It was 5 massive points. But more importantly now, I just want to know, what about you? What about you? I want to hear from you. What did you experience? Also, too, one of my dear colleague friends reached out to me and said, by the way, even though I'm only 25, can you keep talking about this turning 40 stuff? Because it actually gives me hope and it's really inspiring. So please talk about this. So that's the other thing, too. If you haven't turned 40 and you're in your 20s or you're in your 30s, let's have a conversation about this. How are you feeling right now? Check in with yourself. And know that you can tap into any age group paradigm. You can be 65 and tap into that young spirited 25-year-old state when it comes to, listen to your old records. We can tap into the energy centers of each of these age groups and we can gain wisdom and fun from it. So that's the other thing too. Anyway, I digress, and I'm going to wrap this up. It's now way over a 30-minute episode, but there was a lot to say. And I have to say, I feel a bit vulnerable sharing more about the political stuff, but that's where I'm at. That's who I am. Doesn't mean I love you any less. Even though I said that if you don't subscribe to my beliefs, you can stay over there. If you are, let's say, belligerent about those and not even looking to understand, or then you can stay over there. I'm not into violent communication styles. It's about having a conversation and not to shame anybody as well. I think shame is what keeps a lot of us stuck, and we're not progressing as a species because of shame. So we do need to be able to talk in a way that isn't going to shame anybody, and understanding that this is a big thing that we're unraveling. It's going to take time. It's going to take work, and it's really about seeking understanding and connection. And on that note, see you later. We're back. The Fearless Singer podcast is back. And so happy to be doing this again. And have a lovely week. Oh, g'day, it's Mel X again. And if you would like to start working with me, head over to fearlesssinger.com, download your free vocal glow up guide. So it's an 8-minute vocal routine, takes all the guesswork out. Just do that every day. Means that you're showing up for your vocal muscles and your singing and your creativity. That's absolutely free. And if you're like, I want to do more, come over to the Fearless Singer membership. It's $497 for a whole year. We meet weekly. So you get weekly singing classes. We also have life coaching, which is a part of that. We also do a monthly class that is themed, and I get guests in who talk about anything from nervous system regulation to singer branding and business. You also get access to all of the Fearless Singer online resources, including the courses. The Fearless Singer mission is very much about elevating singers. You have a special story to tell. It's inside of you. And let's get it out. Let's share it with the world.